We had a conversation with Mark Height earlier this week about how his team is helping home sellers transition into new housing as they take advantage of this hot sellers market. Now we're talking with Bruce Dodd at People's Home Equity about how the buyers out there can go ahead and get pre-qualified to get the home of their dreams. Good to see you this morning.
It's always good to see you guys.
What did you say?
I said it's always good to see you.
Oh, it's always good to see you. I'm sorry, the audio was off for a second. So it's true, isn't it, Bruce, that you're seeing people kind of come knocking on your door with nails biting because if they don't have the right financing behind them, they're not going to get a house?
Well, it certainly makes it more of a challenge. Most of the time, depending on the price point, if you're under $300,000, every house you make an offer on, there's going to be a bunch of other offers. So it's important to make sure that you can demonstrate that you've done the work to get yourself ready to go.
Okay, it's still kind of surprising to me that we talk about homes costing as much as they do, simply because I go back long enough. I remember what I paid for my first house.
No, it's absolutely things are more expensive now. But the other thing you have every first-time home buyer is not the same. You have some people who prepare for a number of years, and so sometimes they're buying their first house a little later in life.
Well, for people who might think, or their parents might be saying to them, I can't believe you're going to spend this much for a house. It's not going to ever appreciate. Real estate generally is one of your safest investments to make, correct?
Yeah, typically, if you look over the long haul, properties have been appreciating more here lately, but typically, even in not the greatest of economic times, you're going to see somewhere around a 4% appreciation for property in the Chattanooga area, pretty much year over year.
Given the fact that interest rates are so low, do you see people right now trying to find ways to finance at 100% rather than putting money down for a conventional loan?
You see people trying to do all kinds of different things. For most people, for most of the times, right now, conventional financing is going to be perceived by sellers as the transaction they want to go with. And there's some different variations on we can work people through. But I would think you're right in that most people right now are thinking, hey, maybe now's not a time to make giant down payments. Maybe I can use some money somewhere else for wealth building.
Right. So which points to the fact that now is a great time to be making that purchase because the interest rates are so low. You've got that money freed up to invest now in other ways.
Absolutely. And the other thing is just if you have to pay for housing, if you're not one of those folks who are living with family or something else, if you're paying for housing, rents are not cheap these days. Mm-hmm. And so if you're paying for housing, you might as well be building your own balance sheet versus somebody else's.
I was talking with a dentist today, and he was saying you don't want to feel any guilt if you haven't taken care of your teeth when you come into our office. We don't want you to feel judged in any way. I would think in your office you see people come in whose finances are not ideal, but you can talk to them and help them get some things cleared off of their credit report to then qualify for that house.
Absolutely. Life happens. And so we're going to talk about what reality is and what steps can we take to get you to where you want to go. And a lot of times people who think their situation's particularly heinous, it's not that big of a deal. So, we see an awful lot of different iterations of credit and that sort of thing. So the most important thing is just to figure out where you are and what is the path forward.
Okay, so you're not a soothsayer, and I know that. You're pretty close, but you're not exactly. So if somebody were to call you and come in to meet with you one day next week, and let's say that they did have a few items to deal with on their credit history, how long will it take them, generally speaking, to get those removed and then begin the process of buying?
Well, it really depends. It really depends on the person, and it depends on what we're talking about. Some things, are very, very immediate. Some things take a little bit of time. So I would just tell somebody there is no sort of one size fits all for what is the best way for you to prepare yourself. So what's really important is let's take a look. Let's figure out exactly where you are. And let's come up with what your path forward is.
Do you kind of anticipate this shortage of housing continuing, the homes on the market continuing for a while?
Well, I think you've got an awful lot of people out there that are looking that have not been successful in buying homes. Well, yes, we're seeing some building. You're not seeing enough building for that, for suddenly for things to change dramatically. So yeah, I think we're going to be in a tighter inventory for the foreseeable future.
With your office and folks coming in, I think you've adapted pretty well. You do a lot of your work now virtually for people, right, to make it easier for them?
That's right. And so, so many people are working remotely that, doing a mortgage remotely is no big deal. But yeah, we have systems in place, so it's super, super easy for you to do.
Okay, so all they have to do is pick up the phone and call you, or should they go on your website and contact you that way? What's the easier way?
I'm an old fashioned guy. Pick up the phone, let's talk, and let's figure out what we need to do.
All right, then here's the number. I'm going to let you say it because I'll enjoy hearing you more than I enjoy hearing me.
I don't know about that. 423-591-9801. Once again, 423-591-9801. Or you can check us out at chatmortgage.com. That's chat with two T's, chatmortgage.com.
He will treat you right, and I guarantee you that you'll chat about things other than your mortgage, too. Bruce is a pretty interesting fella. Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.